for the Newsmaker, brought to you by the new 2013 Taurus.
Welcome back to Rome. I'm joined by a buddy of mine, a guest who will be soon inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He has a new book out as well. It's called 30 Years, 30 Undeniable Truths about boxing, sports, and TV. It drops next week. Showtime boxing analyst Al Bernstein joins me right here in studio. Al, it's great to see you. How are you?
Good to be with you. Congrats on the show, and it was fun to visit with you on the radio. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you, Al. Let me start first with your book. Give me at least one undeniable truth about boxing.
Well, there's a couple interesting ones. A bunch of them. There's 30 of them, actually. One is, unlike reality TV, live sports television is real. And in there, I talk about some of the crazy things that have happened. I've been a part of some gaffes that people might remember. One time, we were doing, in fact, a fight for Showtime at the Home Depot Center, as we're going to be doing this weekend. And I was supposed to come on camera and say, here we are at the Home Depot Center where the fans are coming out braving the rain. And when they came back, I said, here we are in the Home Box Office Center. They didn't. Amazingly, I'm still working at Showtime, which is shocking. So that chapter has a lot of those crazy things. But that's one of the undeniable truths. And I mentioned the other day, you have a role in the book that is prominent because I talk about, not only do I talk about doing the only boxing match, one of the only two that I've done on radio was done with you during the play-by-play.
That was fun. That was a good time. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, was that not Terry Norris and Meldrick Taylor?
Excellent memory, and it was a lot of fun. And I've done so few. You did a great job on that. And I also tell a story in the book about how you found me when I was getting ready to do my first musical act at Caesar's Palace before the Leonard Hagler fight. And I was sequestered doing the rehearsing for this, and all these radio shows from all around the country are calling me in these major markets. And you were, at that time, just a young guy starting out in radio. Somehow you found me at this facility, and I go and I answer the phone, and you said, hi, this is Jim Rome. I do the show in Santa Barbara. I'd like to have you on the radio. And I'm like, I don't know you, but you found me. I'm going to do your radio show.
You've never said no to any of these things. Look, a simple thank you and the acknowledgments in the forward would have been enough. I didn't have to be a part of the book, but I appreciate that.
I couldn't write it without you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We talk about some of these old fights. You're not a big list guy, but over the past 30 years, I know there have been certain guys that have to stand out in your mind. It always takes a different guy to step between the ropes anyway. Who are some of your favorite fighters?
Yeah, Marvin Hagler, I have such a shared history with him in the 80s. I did a lot of the fights for the guys that were dubbed the Four Kings. Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran were dubbed the Four Kings. And during that era, it was so extraordinary. And Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, who's being inducted in the Hall of Fame this year, one of my classmates in the Hall of Fame, tremendous fighter. And in the book, I kind of make some lists, and one of the lists I make also is of the best fights I've done. And Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler is right up there. And then the other one that's right up there is Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo, a fight we did about 5 years ago on Showtime.
Let me ask you this. Is it a case whereby we don't have fighters like that anymore, or they're still out there, but they just don't fight each other? Because that seems like the heyday.
That's a really good question. It's a combination of the two things. Now, in the 90s, people didn't fight each other as much as they should. It was kind of an abyss for boxing. That's when the mainstream media kind of stopped covering the sport. In the last 5 or 6 years, I think we have made some pretty good matches, but I don't think people have paid attention. It's like the old thing. It's not build it and they will come, because people have to know about it. And so now I think people are kind of getting back into talking about these fights, but people have to know about the fighters.
All right, so you've got a quadruple header coming up on Showtime this weekend. What do you like about that card?
Well, I think it's going to be fun. First of all, we have Antonio Tarver, age 43, defending a cruiserweight championship against Latif Coyote. And this has all kinds of intrigue built into it, because Antonio, who of course is one of my broadcasting mates at Showtime, has been commenting on Latif Coyote as he's fought on Showbox on Showtime, which has created an interesting dynamic. We live in a different media world now, and Antonio, who beat Danny Green, as you're seeing here, in a very impressive performance, didn't look like he was 43 years old in this fight,
sure.
I have to say. He made some negative comments about Coyote as they were doing the commentating, and Coyote took them really personally. And so now we have the rare circumstance of him fighting somebody, and now Coyote gets to take it out on him in the ring.
All right, so that should be really interesting. One thought about Mayweather-Pacquiao, it's the one fight that everybody wants. It's the one fight that boxing needs, yet it hasn't happened. How come?
You know, that's a $64,000 question. I think early on in the game, it may have been, I think, more Floyd. Then I think it became more circumstantial on both parts. And now we've reached this point where I think there's a lot of egos involved. There's a lot of posturing. And, you know, it's interesting that everybody thinks this fight should happen, even the participants, and yet it doesn't. And I'm not that optimistic.
Do you think both the fighters want it to happen?
I believe now, yes. I wasn't always sure about that, but I think now, yes, they would like it to happen. But I think if it doesn't happen within the next 8 or 9 months, it's definitely not going to happen.
All right, now, very quickly, the International Boxing Hall of Fame, that's a very big deal. You were going in. What's that mean to you?
It's daunting. You know, it's amazing. The Boxing Hall of Fame is very kind to those of us that are not boxers. My take on it is that it's validating about the past, but it energizes me for the future because obviously I'm still involved in my profession, and it gives me a responsibility to keep chronicling the sport in what I hope is a responsible way.
Oh, certainly there is that. You have that. You have the Showtime broadcast over the weekend. You have a new book coming out. You are busy, Al. It's great to get caught up. Thank you very much.
Jim, great to be with you.
Good to see you. Great time.